M.I.C. Mining Crush check number 2, technically, if the second one doesn't count in this. Alright. And thank you all for coming back again. I appreciate it. And today I'm here with a special guest that is well distracted as the normal millennial state of looking down in your phone while supposed to be focused in other engagements. I am kidding.
So we're gonna argue in this podcast. It's gonna be a good old fashioned argument.
A good old fashioned.
He's gonna call just a conversation, even though he'll start yelling at me.
I won't start yelling. This is my sister Christiana. For all you don't know, she has a wonderful YouTube channel that has amassed a very nice audience that is much more substantial than mine.
It's only like 40 more subscribers.
So that's about a 200%, maybe a
How many do you have?
Maybe 1,000% increase over mine. I think I have 10. Never mind. So it's a 500%.
At 58.
Over 500% over.
Our channels, they're just getting started.
Even though I have over 60 videos on my channel, you guys need to help me out.
You 10. You.
I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you, honestly and truly.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's what happened today. He gonna come up to my room and like.
Wait, it stopped recording. What the heck?
Pot been broke too many times.
You were saying?
So he wanted to talk about anxiety today and mental things. Because here's the thing with this dude. What's your stance on freaking mental issues?
What's my stance? It's highly dependent on the issue. However, I believe you are in... It's not just what I believe, it's what I know. Whether or not... I believe you are in full control of your emotions at every single point in time. Whether or not those emotions are heavily influenced by your interactions, your experiences, that's what I think. It's just you're in control of your emotions at all time, and a lot of people aren't in the best control of their emotions.
Okay. So...
What do you feel about emotions then? If you were giving me a sort of look when I was saying that, so what were you thinking?
Because I think it also reflects on how you
me personally or one?
You personally.
I was saying something
because these are all opinions, to be honest.
That's an issue. So are you saying because what I stated was everybody is in control of their emotions. Your emotions come from you. Someone else does not create your emotions.
Okay.
Therefore, you are in control.
But the things that happen affect them.
Exactly. This is what I said that already.
Yeah.
And it will heavily affect it based on the experiences and encounters you have throughout your life. It will affect how much you will be in tune with or in control of your emotions.
Okay. But I'm gonna speak from my perspective.
Speak from your perspective.
For me.
But as a baseline, are we disagreeing that? What are we disagreeing with? Or what are you disagreeing with me with? Or are you thinking, yes, but.
Yeah, but there's more to it. It's not.
But as a baseline, do you believe you are in control of your emotions? Ultimately, at the baseline of things.
Okay, but I do know that you're in control of your emotions, but it's hard to do that. It's better said than done.
I don't disagree.
Okay.
I didn't say it was.
Why are we having this conversation then?
We've had this conversation before.
Okay, so let me explain myself.
Uh-huh.
I have anxiety, right? And it's the type of anxiety you get panic attacks, like real attacks, not like the people like, oh, my heart's racing, oh my God. I'm having a panic attack. No, it's like there's trauma that I have, and a lot of things that I get anxious about that lead me to a lot of times depression, chronic depression. I feel, because I could be happy one day and like perfectly fine, then the next day I just don't want to do anything, and this dude's always saying, oh, you're home all day, you don't do anything. It's because I'm going through something in my mind. So basically I feel like a lot of people do exploit, would you say?
Yes.
Having mental issues when it's not really. Everybody in this world gets their heart pumping, they're nervous for something, everybody. But that's not mental issues, rather. And I feel like that's the fact that a lot of people say that nowadays makes the people who actually have those issues, like, it lessens their problems. You know what I mean? It like makes them well, how do you say it? You know how people, they make it seem like it's normal. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and this is exactly what I've said, and you've disagreed with.
It's because when you, as I'm saying, I actually have problems, and when he brings this up to me, it's like you're saying that I'm the one faking.
I'm not saying is there something you want to say before?
I wasn't done.
Right, go ahead.
Sheesh.
I let her get her stuff out, but then watch her cut me off. Give me a second.
It's because I cut you off because you're not actually hearing me.
I'm hearing you. I let you talk.
Here's the thing.
I'm hearing and listening.
Because when you're having an issue and then somebody wants to come along and act like they know more than you about how you're supposed to deal with your feelings. When I'm trying to get them out, first of all, you're the one who keeps them in. That's a different type of mental issue.
That's an opinion. That's an opinion.
That's a fact.
That's an opinion.
That's a fact.
You making a statement about how someone else deals with something is an opinion because you don't know for a fact how they're dealing with it. Because you are not them.
But the way that you talk and the way you bring up stuff,
that is your opinion.
It shows.
That's the way you're perceiving it.
Okay, anyways. But I think a lot of people don't know what anxiety really does to a person. Even the day that the roach was in the kitchen, I was having a panic attack after. You left the room and I had it while I was with Mom. Were you in there?
Nope.
So what's this? What's this reaction?
Does it make sense?
Yes. Would you like me to air out?
Yes.
On here.
You can share what you want to share. I'm not telling you can say you have to say anything. I'm not saying you don't have to say. There's something you shouldn't say. Say what you want to say.
This is really personal, but no, I'm not going to speak on that part. But that day when there was a bug in the kitchen, and I didn't have my glasses, and I obviously I hate bugs, but I'm not having a panic attack over a bug. It's because it like triggered something, because I was like literally yelling for help. I'm like, and they were ignoring me. First of all, he said he couldn't hear me, but I know he was ignoring me, and Elias was ignoring me, and he was right across me, because like, it's in the kitchen. That's nasty, first of all, and I don't want stuff going into y'all's food or mine. And so I'm just like, yo, can someone help me? I can't see. I don't have my glasses on. I'm wearing contacts now. And I was yelling, like, and then it turned, like, at first I was like calling someone, like, hey, and then I started yelling and screaming because they were just ignoring me. And it kind of tied into what he came in my room the day before. He was talking to me about something that had to do with a family member. and myself. And basically, when you were talking to me about that,
Mm-hmm.
that makes me think about what we were talking about too, the stalker that I had,
Mm-hmm.
and how I don't usually feel protected by you guys, right? And then the day before, you were talking to me about a cousin, right?
Uh-huh.
And then the next day, I feel like y'all aren't coming to help me again. That's why things are connected.
I know they're connected.
Triggers.
Everything. Well, this is something I don't
like
know.
Even
if I should
right
share
now,
it or
my
not.
heart's pounding right now talking about it.
Sure. So throughout that, you were saying you could hear us. So you know we could hear you. I'm downstairs, putting headphones on, about to play a video game. Therefore, I don't hear you, and still you start screaming bloody murder, right? So in that moment, you have to. Well, this is not what you have to do. In that moment, when you said that, I was like, I didn't hear her until she started screaming. So, right, so she's calling and expecting it.
It's not just him though. First of all,
I'll
sorry,
let you finish talking.
but I'm saying that Elias was there
I could have
too.
inputted while you were talking. Right, I understand that part. So it's not just me. My brother was there. He should have heard her. Whatever. He's closer.
He
should have. Right. He
said
that's
that I
all.
wasn't going to come over there for a bug. You could kill it yourself. I can't see.
Right. So that, in my opinion, well, if she felt that was important, it's the levels that are important. The things that you find, that you give, it's like a budget. Things that you spend emotional, put emotional time or emotional effort into, versus whatever that in our mind is on a very, very low. A bug in the house we've experienced worse than bugs. Rats, mice, and all types of different bugs, beetles, roaches, ants. So that stuff is low in our emotional deposit box. So we're not going to put much into that, think much of it. But you, that is high on the list. Because you don't like bugs, you're scared of bugs, you won't. But then that also, that thing you said triggered you of feeling not protected. That is a deep personal issue that we cannot change. We do not have control of what you feel in that scenario.
I'm not asking you to change that for me. I never have. But the fact of the matter is that, as I said, because you have these preconceptions of how anxiety and depression works, that when it comes to things that I'm dealing with, you don't have any sensitivity towards it.
It's what you believe is a preconception. If you keep playing into, listen, when you have an anxiety, right? Do you want to get rid of it?
I do. Later.
Right. So this is speaking from a personal experience. You think the trauma, because I've experienced trauma, I just don't like to talk about it a lot at all. I'll say I have it and then I'll leave it at that, and then I deal with it in a certain way, right? So the way I deal with it is I dealt with it in a similar way to the way you're dealing with it now. It wasn't acknowledged. But now, and it was invisible because no one cared about it. Therefore, I did not care to share it. And now is a perfect in this time, right? In this era where a lot of people are coming out about having these mental things, and more people are willing to help. And there was also other reasons. Right. So we did programming, which we didn't feel was necessary, and it wasn't, but it was fun nonetheless. We went to youth, rehabilitation center, which teaches children how to deal with their emotions and do stuff with trauma and all that stuff. So, and I don't even get any of that from this, but that's beside the point. But what I'm saying is, the way that you deal with trauma, you need to let someone know that that's what you're experiencing. in the moment. It's like, hey, like, cause I don't know. There's nothing we can do to deal with that. What I'd say is practice trying to downplay what's something that is you. Because I'd like to think in rational statements. Is it rational to be upset at this in this moment?
I do that too. That's why sometimes that's how I am with mom, because she gets worked up over smaller things.
Right. So then you could start with that in your personal, mental things that, if it does not have a physical threat to you, then you should be able to deal with it easier. Correct? How?
I usually do. You don't ask me how I deal with it afterwards.
But if you're having a panic attack, you're not dealing with it. That a panic attack is not healthy. Having a panic attack.
My recovery is, because literally, like, what was it? The day after, I just watched something. I watched stuff. I listened to music to like calm myself.
Right, which is beneficial, and I don't take away from anything anybody does to deal with the mental health situation. Deal with it in a healthy, positive way that is not going to hurt yourself or other people. Because I think everyone has a right to a healthy life and a healthy mind. So do whatever you need to do to keep your mind healthy that is not going to have a negative effect on your future or someone else's future.
And the thing is, you should understand that if I'm having a panic attack, it's not because I want to have it. And that's why when I have one, I want to get over it as quickly as possible.
Sure.
So I literally distract myself. So good. I commend myself on that, because sometimes I could really snap back.
That's the thing. I don't know about panic attacks, or if I could, because there's nothing in my adulthood that I could, and that's what's different. Because people that are, like, I think it's, I mean, I don't know, because if it would have manifested itself earlier, if the panic attacks and the anxiety condition would have manifested itself earlier, you'd be more equipped to deal with it right now, and it wouldn't be a problem. Because I can't imagine a panic attack as an adult.
Yeah,
because it seems like a tantrum to me, and that's how I analyze it, as a tantrum.
It's not a tantrum though, for me at least.
Can you describe to me, what is a panic attack? Can you describe it?
It is not a tantrum, first of all.
Just describe it from base.
I'll take it. Let me explain myself.
Explain what triggers it, and once in the midst of it, and the recovery of it, and how it feels throughout.
I get triggers by my normal triggers are family, abuse, sexual abuse, oh my god, my heart, and I think that's about it. That's literally my triggers, is all of that. So, I mean, sometimes I do it to myself, like when I was watching the R. Kelly stuff.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But and then for me, I'm dealing with it now because back then, sure, I cried a lot, but it wasn't over our family problems, our traumas or anything. It was just because life, or if you'd call me fat a day, then I'd cry, or someone called me.
You would be a normal teenage girl
cry.
with
overzealous
emotions.
Once I got to 17, I started dealing with my actual trauma. Like I finally understood things, like,
to the best of your ability,
and the depth of things that we've gone through.
The depth of the side that you've listened to from one perspective.
And the depth of what happened to me. The hell? Shoot. You need to... Our lives are not connected. I have my own life. You have your own life.
You just said they are connected.
They are. They are at some point. But afterward... He thinks that I don't have any other problems or nothing else ever happened to me outside of our things that happened in the past in our family. Jeez. You know parts of things. Jeez. My gosh. And that's part of the problem too, because he doesn't know. He wants to act like he knows everything that's happened to me. But and then downplays it.
I don't downplay anything. I'm
Yes,
just
you
saying
did.
you act like nothing ever happened to me.
Because you don't want to talk about it.
I don't talk about it. You don't talk about yours either.
Exactly, but I'm not assuming anything did happen to you.
But you're talking to me as if I haven't experienced the same thing you have. So you're saying the way I'm dealing with stuff is not the way I should be dealing with it because I'm not dealing with it the way you are.
No, I don't want you to deal with it the way I do.
So who?
I just want you to not. Because the way you deal with it is by...
No, if I see you dealing with it in an irrational way, that is not healthy.
This is why... Okay, it's going to die soon. But here's the thing. Is that since we both have some traumas, right? But you over here, you're like, oh, I'm strong-minded. I went through the same thing.
I didn't go through the same thing. I won't even say that.
Here's the thing.
Not even the same thing. Not nearly. Because you're a different person.
Okay.
No one goes through the same thing. Even if it's the same action. Even if it's the same act, it's not the same.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that even I literally wrote like a poem like a few weeks ago because I was feeling down because there's we're not, what is it called? Being aware. What is it? When you... sympathetic?
Empathize or sympathize?
Empathize or something. Like, you understand how they're feeling. Like, I don't know. Well, somebody...
Understand and know because you've experienced it, or...
Yeah, and you see
you just recognize it.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, really. But I wrote a poem. I was just saying how it's funny how somebody else has to get like all this attention when you went through the same thing, but they're just louder about it.
Right.
And that's how I feel you feel towards me. And that's why some things like while we're having this conversation is because you don't want to talk about your big things.
Yeah, because
they don't affect you the way that mine.
It stopped recording. Well, it's still recording here.
You don't deal with things the same way that I do, and I'm not really dealing with it yet because I haven't had someone to actually talk about things that will understand me. I need, as I said, I need a therapist.
Right. But I would think that's what I think about. See, we have different opinions on therapy.
I don't find it as a bad thing.
I don't find it as a bad thing. I think it's necessary.
I wish when I was younger, I was able, like when we were in all those mentoring programs and having counseling, that I was really able to talk about everything. But unfortunately, I didn't take advantage of that because I didn't see how important it was to get through this at that time. And I thank Mom for trying, but it was just my mind that I didn't deal with it at the time.
Right.
Because I thought it would be better for Mom if like we didn't show that emotion.
Because it wouldn't have. That's what I felt. Because it didn't matter. This is what I think about the past. You can't change your past. Your past affects your present, and your past will affect your future. Don't let the past affect your present so much that you don't have a good future. Okay. Right. So if you deal with something, deal with your past in the present, so you don't have to worry about your past in the future, and appreciate your present self for dealing with your past in the past.
Okay.
So everything you deal with, right?
But that's also kind of problematic.
It's not. Wait, okay, go ahead. Explain why you think that is.
I think it's because I feel like you're using that as like a reason to keep everything inside.
That's an opinion.
No, like listen. It's cause that's just kind of.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
And do you believe God can take away your pain?
Yes.
So why don't you give it to God?
I do.
So why are you still dealing with pain that you thought that you've already given to him?
Cause he's still dealing with me. I gotta be patient.
You gotta be diligent in giving it to him. So give him everything. Don't keep little parts.
No duh.
Because the people, if you don't think, because you never find true peace if you are still dealing with and still being affected by the person that committed that trauma to you. Every time you think of that person, you think of the trauma. You gotta think about, either don't think about that person at all, or find a way to delete that person from your mind. I don't think is a healthy thing. If they, like, especially for family. If you're considering family, if someone and if you look into my eyes, if something happens to you with someone, so this is what was I saying? I was saying, so if you give God your problems, right? And if you have to deal with, if you are saying you want to be better and want to get rid of this thing, right? And get rid of what the trauma you've had, right? And you're saying, okay, how am I going to get rid of this? And you have to get rid of all the pieces, right? If the person that you are attached to and that's attached to that trauma is someone realistically that you'll probably have to encounter in your future, it's not realistic to delete that person from your mind, because then they'll come back up when you see them in person, right?
Do
and
you
then
see this person?
That I'm talking about in a general aspect.
I'm talking about you.
I'm talking about in a general aspect right now.
You.
I'm talking about in a general aspect right now.
Hold up, you know more about my life than I know about yours. So I don't gotta say crap. You say.
Say what?
You say what's up.
I say what's up
Share.
with what? I'm not sharing. How if I know more about, what are you talking about? You just said I don't know nothing about your life. You said we are not connected.
The thing is yeah, our lives aren't connected outside of the family.
If you are at a different point in your life where you are now able to protect yourself in a better way, that cannot happen again. Whether it be by age, whether it be by strength, whether it be by mental fortitude, that you are not right. So, if you are now able to protect yourself around that person, there's a reason you have to be by that person, and you're strong enough not to let that trigger you, so you can go into let that affect you and not start having negative effects in your life, or have a breakdown or something. And that person is no longer a threat to you, right? What's the reason then for holding that in your heart and having malice, even if the person hasn't apologized, even if that person that caused the trauma hasn't said anything to justify, should that person? Yes, because that's a person on their own journey, in their own life, is dealing with, or going to have to deal with later in their life, right? And they're going to have to, and that has nothing to do with you. So the way that person acts, reacts, and the choices that person makes has nothing to do with you, because you are only in control of the choices you make. You are not in control of the choices someone else makes. You can influence those choices other people make, and other people can influence the choices you make. However, the choices you make will affect your life. Sometimes they will affect other people's lives, right? But the choices that you make that you know will affect your life are the ones that are most important. So you need to consider the things that you keep in your mind, the things that you let have an influence over your emotions. How much of your time, how much of your life do you want to spend letting those things control your emotions, instead of being free from that and not being affected by that trauma you once had, and being affected by that person that caused that trauma, when they're no longer a threat to you, or to having that trauma caused to you ever again by that same person.
You don't forgive and forget.
You don't. You
forgive.
You can forgive someone, but remember what happened. But will the remembrance of that trigger you to be negatively affected, where you cannot move on, where you can't have emotional stability?
I think that's like that is a hard topic because literally that's not something you can force anyone to forget or
Right. I'm not saying you should. That would be naive to forget. You shouldn't forget.
It does take, I think it does, what is it called? Go into, helps you in dealing with other stuff.
It does.
By remembering. It can help you. Like, you're like, oh, I went through this,
yes.
and I can go through this. And
that's not what I was thinking you were going to say, but sure.
Yeah.
If something happens to you, this is what I consider, because going off of that point, if something happens to you, you have to remember where you were in that point in time. Or you don't have to. This is what I did. This is what I did. And this is what I think is a good thing. And this is a good aspect of the mindset I've had. Not all of it is a good aspect, but this is a good aspect. Remembering the point you were in your life. Remembering the mental state you were in.
You didn't even tell your story.
Remembering because I decided not to share it. Because it's not necessary. Because we can share that off camera, so everyone doesn't need to know all this crap.
Well, you can just cut it out.
And then I'll stop recording and I'll share it.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Save the battery then. Stop it.
Well, you want to know that much?
Dude, you know a lot of stuff that happened to me, and I don't know it.
Right, but if I know,
you keep on bringing this up. You want to tell it.
I don't. All right, we're back with the newly bruised ego, Christiana, that thought she could beat me in an arm wrestling.
I did.
Contest. She didn't beat me not once.
I did.
We tried 6 times, left and right arms.
6 times why?
I'll admit, she is stronger than I thought. I was at about 65-70% before she went down. So, any guys out there, I'm a pretty immaculately strength guy. If I say so myself, that's not true. I'm not that strong. I'm just know how to use my weight. Whatever.
Is this on?
Yeah, it's on. It's recorded. It's on recording. I forget what we were saying last time, but we had a small conversation where I shared something with Christian. Now speak on it. What do you feel about that? Now, what do you feel about my thought process in regards to trauma and removing it from your life? Do you feel any differently about the things I've said with the thing I shared with you?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. But it's just because I'm just going through it. And it's not often. I know my triggers. I know how to keep it down for a little bit. It's not every time I get a panic attack. It's just sometimes when things keep on building on, obviously a lot of people crack under stuff like that.
Right, but you shouldn't be one of those people. Because you know me. I'm trying to share with you methods, man. There's things I want to share with people. Like, not everything I do is healthy. I'm not going to share the things that I do that are unhealthy. But the things that work and the things that are right, I want to share. And the things that people need to be doing, or I think they need to be doing according to the benefit of human life, I feel it necessary to share. Would you like to end this now, since you like to be on your phone?
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate this episode. Let me know if there's any topics you like me to talk about or us to talk about in the future. I've got a few things lined up. A few more topics lined up. I might come in solo a few times before before the next guest is on. But I truly appreciate you all watching, and share this if you feel like this conversation is helpful or non-helpful, or you share if you think I need something. You feel like there's something for me to learn. I'm always open to learning new things.
But not really.
I am open to learning new things. I love learning. Learning is my favorite thing to do. I just don't want to learn wrong or learn the wrong things. If something is false, as determined by the other things I've researched and learned, then I'm not going to, even if, the research. So if I learn something that is correct as determined by evidence, then I'm not going to go along with something that is wrong, even if the majority of people believe the wrong thing is right. So that's what I consider. All right. This has been another episode of M.I.C. Mind in Christ.
M.I.T.
What?
M.I.T.
M.I.C. Did you think I said Mind in Christ? I'm like Mike Tyson. I like Mike Tyson. He's real cool. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Be blessed. Stay blessed. And I'll see you all next time.